Check the mic 1 2 1 2. Here we are back again with another Art Professors podcast. I'm the Zim. This is the Zim video. You might be listening to this on an audio only format. So thanks for doing that wherever you're finding it. Appreciate it. I've been an artist for a while. I got my undergraduate at the University of Washington, got my graduate degree at San Diego State University, taught at San Diego State University, went to Northwest Missouri State University last year, and then this year I'm at Rochester Institute of Technology. Full disclosure, this is the second time I'm recording this podcast. Why am I recording it again? Because normally I don't. Normally it's just stream of consciousness, get it done, and then do it. I feel like I might have, I don't know, it's been an interesting journey this time around. And I feel like I might have been downplaying my excitement for starting the new year because of all the things that have happened in the first version of this recording. So I wanted to give it another shot and let you know what's been going on with everything that's happened. I'm going to keep it a little more accounting of events versus my necessarily feelings about everything. And maybe in a few months we can kind of come back and I'll revisit the emotions of today versus the doing it right now, because I think it would be best just to tell you what happened, and then we can talk about how I feel about it at another point in time. So let's get started. The first thing to say, I'm going to edit in a piece of the other podcast because I already ate it. I told you last week about the cookie. My favorite part of being in Rochester that I've learned is this cookie. So I'm going to edit in this portion about the cookie. So last week I told you about the cookie, and I actually got one. So this is the cookie that is currently my favorite thing about Rochester is this cookie from Wigman's. So it's a chocolate chip cookie bowl with this sweet cream filling with sprinkles. It is so good. I'm going to wait till after the podcast to eat it. I just happened to go shopping before I started the podcast. I might still have a little glisten of sweat on me from the bike ride. It is humid today, a little warm today. Humidity is just a fact of life here in Rochester, New York. All right. Now that you got to learn about the cookie, some of the things that I've been doing, I've been riding my bike around more, so I'm starting to understand the area more, getting faster about riding around things. I went down to, so the big news, probably what I titled the podcast, was an update on my car. My car, just to cut through the chase, is totaled, but I don't know what to do about it completely yet. So I rode my bike down through Rochester, got to see a little bit more of Rochester. I've learned the area that I am in is kind of a little depressed, but there's an area, what I think is, if my bike ride was accurate, which is a little northwest of downtown Rochester, is even more depressed that I rode through. So it's like, okay, that's where it gets a little more gritty, is up there, close to the impound where my car was. So I got the call from the impound on, I don't know. I'm just going to go freeform this from this point on. I got the call from the impound. Actually, let's roll back a little bit. I'm going to tell you about my car situation. I'm going to update you on my Rochester Institute of Technology experience up to this point. Those are the two main things. So let's talk about the car, and then we'll talk about what it was like at Rochester Institute of Technology, the new faculty orientation, and those kind of things. The car, like I said, is totaled. I'll put a picture on the screen right now. I got a call on Tuesday night before the new faculty orientation. I knew I had my stuff. I couldn't do anything about it. I was really worried about how I'm going to deal with the car. Luckily, I have a little leeway in little time to figure things out, but I'm really focused on my schoolwork. That this whole car saga is just a piece of the overall experience that's just adding just a headache. It's just a straight up headache. that I'm not enjoying completely. However, what I've learned about it, thinking about the idea, is I really am, there's a silver lining to the whole thing. I'm thankful for the whole thing because it's kind of like the universe is listening to what I'm trying to accomplish and just forcing me into that ability to accomplish it. So the one thing is I've been wanting to get into shape, like get more, lose a little weight, get back into shape a little more. And so it was like, all right, Zim, we'll take your car away and you have to ride a bike, because my solution for this overall kind of idea, like some people might solve it by just going, okay, I'll be riding riding the bus, or I'll be taking Uber, or I'll be trying to mooch rides off of the community or whatever. Mooch might have been the wrong word to use there, but trying to find people that'll give me carpools and things like that. My solution, the way that I think, the way my brain thinks is, am I close enough to use body power? And I am close enough to the school, and I was like, all I need is a bike. So I was able, last week we learned and got supported by the community to get a bike. So now I'm biking, and it'll allow me to hopefully get into shape, get some exercise, take care of my body that way. And I'll just have to figure out what I need to support that in terms of what kind of gear, clothing to make it so I'm not uncomfortable during the rides if the weather gets bad or hot or cold or different things like that. So that's my one solution. That's the way I think. That's the solution that I've come up with, that the universe has sort of provided me the opportunity to get into shape over this next year, because I'll be riding a lot to school. The other idea is I've been talking a lot for years about wanting to get a van, for doing more of a van life thing. So now that I don't have a car anymore, the next vehicle I get possibly can be that van that I can start to get me close to this van life of when I travel to different institutions for teaching. It might be the way I think about it in my mind. It might be easier to get there and basically camp in the van while I look for a place to live and different things like that. So, and then more of my stuff can come with me in the van. So, as I think about it here and visualize it, I can see some kind of transit or sprinter type of van, the tall ones, maybe not too long, but that might be able to fit more of my life and who I am into it. And then it also will be something that, like, making work and making art can transport it easier to different locations and those kind of things. So there's a lot of possibilities of this van idea depending on how it goes. So that's the blessing of it. Like, if I, and even to the degree of not having insurance anymore for the car for theft and damage like that. If it was insured, it would have changed the whole scenario. Like, I would have maybe gotten a rental and wouldn't have the bike, and it would have, but because of this very specific chain of events, it's created this opportunities for what I've been trying to achieve, and it's just have to kind of go through this experience to achieve those things. So to break down, I rode my bike to the impound, looked at it. I was managed to, my lanyard for my pins is gone forever. Unfortunately, I was really hoping that they would have grabbed it and threw it in the back and I would have been able to get it, but they didn't. They took that, the mug, which I'll show on the screen, they took out of the center console and smashed it, but luckily all the pieces were still in the car. So what I'm planning to do is rebuild it and use it as a symbol of perseverance, and use it as like a cup holder on my desk, saying, like, even though this month, the first month of being in Rochester has been really tough, it's not gonna, and it may break me in a sense, I can get through this. I will persevere. I will rebuild. It will be good in the long run, and this will be my symbol of that. So I'm going to rebuild the mug. It's in a bag right now. So I'll get some super glue or some kind of glue to help glue it back together. I'll probably, there's this style of kind of reconstructing that, like, I think Japanese, ceramic, ceramic kind of workers use, where they use like gold to symbolize the joints and stuff. I'm not going to do a Japanese style, but it's the same idea where it's like symbolizing something greater by rebuilding it. So that's where we are with the mug. And then I was also managed to recover my Spider-Man that was my co-pilot. Those have been on my channel for a long time know I put my Spider-Man in my car when I was doing rideshare, and he's been my co-pilot for a long time. So I recovered him, and now he's sitting on my bike, so he'll still be my co-pilot on my bike. So that's, I don't know, what else do I have to add about the car? Oh, the last thing about it is, honestly, at this point, I don't know what to do, because I don't have the title. That's a whole nother story. It's kind of, I paid the car off. The title's sort of in transit. I don't have a way to prove that it's my car so I can have it towed away. But it's totaled, so I don't really want to tow it away. So if I just leave it there, can I just leave it there and then they'll just do something with it eventually? Or will I eventually get some bill for it? I don't know. I mean, my credit's, I don't know. I got to rebuild my credit, so I got to make sure that things don't keep hitting my credit. So maybe I'll just pay for it to be towed to, find a place that they can just tow it away to a dump, a trash place that I hopefully don't have, a wrecking yard or something. Yeah, so that's the car situation. That's where we're at there. All right, so this week, on Wednesday or on Tuesday, I got my U-Haul box coming, so I'll finally get all my stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. What we did last week, I also got my RIT badge. So I'm official, I have my badge now, so I can scan into all my classrooms as I need to. So I'm ready to go there. What happened this week was new faculty orientation. We had basically 3 days, but 2 days of all school new faculty orientation. Then today for an hour and a half or whatever, or an hour, I don't even know how long it was. It wasn't too long, but it was a Zoom meeting for just the new faculty in the art school, or they call it CAD, which is College of Art and Design. So all the CAD new faculty and new adjuncts even, all joined together to ask questions and those kind of things. So overall, how do I phrase this? It was an interesting experience doing the new faculty. In comparison to last year's new faculty orientation, I felt like last year's did better with community building. This year's was shorter. There was only 2 days. It was a lot of information. It's hard to, it's very hard to know what to do with it yet. It'll take me personally, the way that my mind works, it'll take me weeks to filter out. Like I know I just need to focus on making sure I'm ready to teach the first day of classes. So the stuff that they were talking about wasn't overly valuable for that. The first day was mostly just them talking to us about overall arching concepts of the school, which I would have preferred if they flipped the days. The second day was much more nuts and bolts, how you like how the programs work a little bit, how your benefit, like it was more specifically directed to you as a instructor. And there was a lot more opportunities for community building and networking and things. And so I would encourage them, and I'll probably write this to them, to look at swapping the days and doing what they did on the second day first and the first day second, because the first day was really hard to get through. Basically, I'll just leave it at that. First day was really hard to get through. Today's meeting with the new faculty at CAD was okay. It was fine. It was pretty what you'd expect. They just kind of gave us a lot of more information about which was really valuable, which is something I wish they would have done even earlier, because a lot of what was presented today were the questions I've had about the whole experience. And I'm like, okay, it's starting to fill in the gaps now, which is great. So today's gaps were filled in. I'm going to jump into, without overly analyzing and criticizing and critiquing the new faculty orientation experience, I'm going to jump into, now that I've experienced it a couple times through a couple different schools, like what I would do as if somebody asked me and said, Zim, now that you're experiencing new faculty orientation, and I plan to experience it even more as the years go on, because this is my goal, is to be traveling and using art and education to travel around the country and learn and experience different cultures and ideas and how systems work. What I would do is would make the 2 weeks before classes start. The Monday, 2 weeks before class. So if classes started on a Monday, like they happen to do this year for this school, 2 Mondays before that Monday through Friday essentially should be a spread out new faculty kind of experience, a week-long experience, starting with possibly the group of all faculty come together and they have some kind of really great community building, time of conversation, talking, getting to know each other, sharing information about the school, about the experience, but really emphasizing the community aspect and designing it such that you're eased into getting to know people instead of just putting everybody in a room and having them randomly sit places. It's like there are assigned seats to, like, these are the faculty that are closest to your department or things like that. So you might get to know them a little easier, have common frame of reference to be talking about things. So that, and then ease into all the information and do like 2 days of kind of like that sort of community building / lecture of the overall, this is the institution. And then the next 2 days gets more specific to your specific program. Your school walks you around to your classroom, gives you a tour of the building, shows you where things are. Like there might be a handful of 5 to 10 to however big your school is, but they really show you this is the space that you're going to be spending the most time, and you really get to see that environment and interact with it, and they tell you stories about it, and it's kind of like a thing. And then within that and maybe the couple days around that, you sit down and you go through, you actually turn on your computer and you look at, this is what your portal to your classes look like. This is what you need to do to know that. This is how this works. I mean, obviously you're not going to be able to share everything about everything, but be very this is the first thing you need to do and know, like very step by step, and kind of walk you through that and tell you to share who are the people that you need to ask the questions to, and then maybe by the Friday of that week, it's kind of just like a gathering where you're just kind of talking and thinking about things, and you've started to feel comfortable with the community, and then you have a whole week to just kind of digest everything that you've been downloaded that first week, and then you get the chance to kind of tweak your classes, get prepared, get relaxed, get set, spend some time in your classroom doing different things, ask final questions about things. But I would make there a much more comprehensive and longer experience over the week before, and possibly even earlier. And like if there are certain things that can be sent even ahead of time, so you can start working, like hopefully which classes you're teaching a couple like months before you, like a few days after you get hired, so that you can be preparing your syllabi and everything. And then it's just a matter of everything is prepared, it just has to be a little bit tweaked as you learn things that first week, and then you could just upload it and have it ready to go into the system. That's the way that I would approach it based on my experiences of last year and this year. But look for opportunities to have levity, have community building, have fun, have, I don't know, an example that was actually a cool thing from the Northwest Missouri experience was the raffle. At the end of every day, they did a raffle and people won prizes. And so it made it kind of fun, obviously for me, because I actually did win something. But yeah, so that's how I would approach it. That's how I would approach the first couple weeks. Like, yeah, and watch how tight you are to the beginning of the school year when you actually tell people everything they need to know. There are still things that I don't know, and I have next week to figure it out, but I already knew it. To be honest, I would rather already know everything I need to know by this point, so that it's just nuance next week. If I have a little question about this, a little question about that, but we'll see how things play out over the next week, and then we get to start class. So we'll do another podcast at the end of next week. I have two more meetings next week with the school that are specific to the program, the art school. So I guess I'll learn more when I'm there. Hopefully, I really hope I have the opportunity to introduce myself more than just, hi, I'm Zim and I teach illustration. I hope I get a chance to talk about who I am as my art practice a little bit. We did, so hopefully that'll happen at one of these meetings. I don't know what the expectations are for that, because I really like to share who I am and hopefully build community that way at some point. But yeah, so that's what happened this week, and that's my reactions to it. I did, like I said, I visited my classroom already, so I'm getting acquainted with what to expect there, which is I'm excited about. I have the drawing classroom looks really cool, really nice and big and spacious, and looks like a really great drawing classroom. The illustration classroom looks like it's got pretty brand new like iMac computers that look pretty nice. They have these Cintiq drawing tablets, which I have to learn more about. That kind of idea, but my plan, and so I'm feeling comfortable about my space that I'll be working in. Now for me for this weekend is I will be getting everything prepped such that I can upload enough of my classes by Sunday night. So because they prefer you to have classes accessible to students by Monday, the week before school starts. So that would be this coming Monday. So I should be able to get enough of my classes uploaded and organized so that the students could start seeing what to expect. And I'll make a little announcement saying I'm brand new here. I'm still uploading things and organizing, but hopefully I gave you enough information to kind of start to see what's going on. I'm looking forward to meeting you as students this, next week and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, that's what's been going on this last week. So it's been an interesting, I'll just leave it like this. I'll say it's been a very, very, very interesting journey this time. Like if I didn't say at the beginning of the podcast, and if you didn't recognize from previous podcasts, it hasn't been easy this time. There hasn't been, like I mentioned last week, last year's challenge was different than this year. This year's challenge has been very different, with the car being stolen, with the trying to move and rent a place was a lot more challenging. The institution's a lot bigger, has a very different culture than last year. So kind of understanding the culture, which I like to think that I adapt to culture quickly. So it's not a problem at all. It's just, I'm just noticing the difference and having to go, okay, adjust. This is different. What questions do I need to ask? What information do I need to know? What is not being told? And what do I feel like there are holes in knowing so far? And how can I ask the questions without being annoying? And like all those kind of things. So we're just working on it. We're working on it. So there we go. I guess I'm going to leave it at that. Like I said, this was the second time I recorded this podcast. This version is very different than the last one. Maybe I'll leave. Maybe in like 3 years, I'll pull out the original one and say, this was my first attempt at recording the August 16th, 2024 podcast. But thanks for listening. If you want to interact, please find the podcast on YouTube, youtube.com/thezimvideo. Find any of the Art Professors podcasts. Go to the comment section and create a unique new comment, and I will see it. It'll notify me that somebody commented. If you comment on a previous comment, it won't notify me. I will not know that you did it. So it needs to be a unique, brand new comment. And if you have questions about my experience as an art professor, I'd love to share it with you. If you have questions about my practice as an artist. Love to share it with you. If you have any other questions about anything that you know that I'm involved with or I can help you with, please reach out. I'd be happy to connect with you. All right. As always, my friends, be loving, kind, and patient, and we'll catch up with you again next time. Peace.